Imagine a building so insane that 50,000 people watched men fight animals to the death and they gave it a thumbs up. This is the story of the Colosseum. It's the year 70 AD. Emperor Vespasian has a problem. The previous emperor Nero was not great with public relations. He built himself a massive golden palace right in the center of Rome, with a private lake for himself, while his people starved. So Vespasian had a genius idea. What if I tear down this selfish lake and build something for the people? And by for the people, he meant a giant arena where they could watch humans absolutely destroy each other. Wholesome. Construction began immediately, and here's where it gets ridiculous. The Colosseum used roughly 100,000 cubic meters of travertine stone. They cut it from quarries 20 miles away and dragged every single block back to Rome. No trucks, no cranes, just thousands and thousands of workers pulling stone through the Italian heat for 10 straight years. But this was not just a big bowl with seats. The Romans were engineering geniuses. They designed 80 entrance arches so that all 50,000 spectators could find their seat in about 15 minutes. That is better than most modern stadiums. In the year 80 AD, let that sink in. And it had a retractable sunroof. I am not joking. They called it the Valerium. A massive canvas awning stretched over the entire arena, operated by 1,000 sailors from the Roman Navy pulling ropes in perfect coordination, basically air conditioning 2,000 years early. When construction finished, Emperor Titus threw an opening party that lasted 100 days. 100 days of non-stop games. And during those 100 days, over 9,000 animals were killed in the arena. Lions, elephants, rhinos, crocodiles, bears, ostriches. The Romans basically turned the Colosseum into the most violent zoo in human history. Now seating was strictly organized by social class. Front row, senators and VIPs in their fancy white togas. Middle sections, regular citizens. The nosebleed seats at the very top, women and the poor. Basically, the further you sat from someone getting eaten by a lion, the less important Rome thought you were. It is like economy class, but with murder. But here's the kicker. Entry was completely free. Free admission, free food, free wine. The emperor figured out something that every government since has copied. Keep people entertained and well-fed, and they will not ask too many difficult questions. Bread and circuses. It worked for 500 years. A typical day at the Colosseum ran on a tight schedule. Morning started with the animal hunts. Exotic beasts were brought from every corner of the empire. Hunters called venatores would fight them in elaborate staged landscapes with real trees and rocks built right on the arena floor. The crowd went absolutely wild for it. Then came lunchtime, and this is where it gets dark. The lunch break was reserved for public executions. Criminals and prisoners were brought out and killed in front of everyone while spectators ate their snacks. Most of the wealthy Romans actually left during this part to go have a proper meal. So even Romans had some limits, very small limits, but still. The main event was always in the afternoon. Gladiator fights. And forget everything movies told you. Most gladiator fights were not to the death. Gladiators were incredibly expensive to train and maintain. A good gladiator cost about the same as a small house. Killing them every Tuesday was just bad business. Think of them more like ancient MMA fighters with a slightly higher chance of not making it home. They were celebrities. Women wrote love letters to them. Kids played with small clay gladiator figures. Their faces were painted on walls all over Rome. The most famous ones had fan clubs and sponsors. Sound familiar? But here is something most people do not know. In its early years before the underground tunnels were built, the Romans actually flooded the entire arena floor with water and staged full naval battles inside the Colosseum. real ships, real water, real combat inside a building in the middle of a city. I mean, honestly, what were these people on? Beneath the arena floor was a hidden world called the Hypogum, a massive underground network of tunnels and chambers stretching 2 levels deep. This is where the real magic happened. Animals were kept in cages connected to mechanical elevators powered by men turning giant wooden wheels. At the right moment, the trapdoors would fly open and a lion would launch into the arena as if appearing from nowhere. There were 36 of these trapdoors. The crowd never knew what would pop up next or where. Imagine being a gladiator standing down there in the darkness. You can hear 50,000 people stomping and screaming above you. The walls are shaking. Then someone pulls a lever and suddenly daylight hits your face. And you are standing in the middle of the largest arena on Earth with every single eye on you. The Colosseum dominated Roman life for nearly 4 centuries, but nothing lasts forever. The last recorded gladiator fights were held around 435 AD. As the Roman Empire crumbled, so did the arena. Earthquakes cracked its walls. Lightning struck its upper floors. And then the locals started treating it like a free construction supply store. They stripped the marble seats. They pulled out the iron clamps holding the stones together. They carted away thousands of blocks to build churches, palaces, and bridges across Rome. Those little holes you see all over the Colosseum walls today, those are where the iron clamps used to be before someone ripped them out. For centuries, the mighty Colosseum sat abandoned. Plants grew through the cracks. Animals moved in. At one point, it was even used as a cemetery. The greatest arena ever built became a ruin that people walked past without a second thought. But today, 6 million people visit the Colosseum every single year. They buy overpriced water. They take selfies. They stand in the same arches where Romans stood 2,000 years ago and try to imagine what it sounded like when 50,000 voices roared at once. Almost 2,000 years later, we are still talking about it. We are still amazed by it. And honestly, we still have not built anything quite like it. A building made for blood became immortal. If you enjoyed this story, hit subscribe because next time we are going even further back in time to a civilization that built something even more insane in the middle of a desert with no iron tools and no wheels. See you there.